Yo, what's up, everybody? On this episode of the NFT QT show, Ryan and I will be discussing how many fans you need to make a living at NFTs.
We'll
And
also be giving our opinion on Visa buying a CryptoPunk, universities adopting NFT technology, and shit, who knows? Maybe even the world's second NFT arcade. We might cover that. So stick around to hear our thoughts.
for sure, for sure. So, this episode of the NFT QT show was brought to you by the NFT Handbook. Now, the NFT Handbook is a detailed guide on how you can create, buy, and sell non fungible tokens. And guess what? If you pick up this handbook, you won't need the technical background that you might know about. So, you can learn exactly what NFTs are and how they've evolved and why they have value over at Amazon. Just search the NFT Handbook. So, Ryan, what's good, bro?
Man, just trying to keep up with what's happening in the NFT space, dude. It's overwhelming to be quite frank.
It is. It is. It is. It is. I mean, even since we last talked, man, so much has happened.
Oh, for
So
sure.
much has happened. So much has happened. I mean, we should start. I think we should start with Visa. I think that's probably the first place to start. What do you
For
think?
sure. I mean, all of NFT Twitter, if we can start classifying that as a thing yet, everyone had a take on it, so we got to give our take.
What? I'll let you kick it off. I mean, I can give it a little bit of a go, but I think what we do know is that Visa is intrigued by NFTs so much so that they bought a 150K CryptoPunk. This is the crypto.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see it's just a marketing campaign, to be honest. I think they have no intention or are serious at all about NFTs. I mean, just the basic fact that they bought basically a punk at the floor price, like the lowest possible price you could buy a crypto punk at right now. And that's what they spent. People on Twitter were clowning them like, man, they spent 0.0000001% of their daily revenue on on an NFT, and everyone's going crazy. And it's like, I kind of agree with that. Like this felt like a cry for attention from me because I feel like it's not that impressive, to be honest, especially when we see single entities, single people spending this every single day on NFTs. This is not that impressive, but I think also, like, if they are planning something here, I could see why they would buy a CryptoPunk right now. They're probably preparing for something, or they have some things in the hopper that they might want to test out. And I guarantee that somebody told them that was in their ear and was saying, "Hey, if we're planning on getting in this space 3, 4, 6 months from now, maybe a month from now, we got to at least show up and spend some money first. Like, we can't just hop in here and be like, yo, give us some money. People are going to hate it." Because that's kind of like some pretty typical advice I feel like people would be giving big brands, like, hey, go spend some money here first and then hop in, then do your project. So I feel like, if anything, they're probably planning something, and this is their way of just, sliding their name in here right now, familiarizing people with Visa meets NFTs. That's kind of what it felt like to me.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I think in my just me looking at the whole concept of Visa buying an NFT. Did you see Arizona? They bought a Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yeah, I did.
So this is like in just 1 week, we've seen two massive companies kind of hop in NFTs, right? And I don't think this is a trend that is going to be just here today and gone tomorrow. I think that you're right. Like, people are trying to get in, but I think that they're trying to find the best way for them to do it, right? So it's like, this is I'm gonna pull up on screen. So this is what we were talking about. Arizona Iced Tea, their iced tea company. For those that don't know, they just created a Bored Ape, or they didn't create, they bought a Bored Ape, and they're doing some cool stuff there. It was, again, the Bored Ape community was excited by it, but uh, the actual founders of Bored Ape Yacht Club, they weren't too pleased to see that Arizona Tea used their logo, and they're like, look, you can buy an ape and do whatever you want with your ape, but if you want to use our actual brand and our logo and what we're doing and what we represent, we need to at least talk to you. And so I thought I thought that made sense. What did you think?
For sure. I mean, I don't know. I feel like out of any if we're looking at just a list of brands that could hop in and like buy an NFT and people wouldn't hate on them, like I feel like Arizona's probably quite far up there. Like think about how long Arizona held us down with the 99-cent tee. Like everybody who was just balling on a budget, they bought them from when they were 6 years old up until they were 26. So like I feel like Arizona's a pretty cool brand. I wouldn't be surprised if they did some limited edition cans with a Bored Ape on them, something like that. Especially because we're seeing so many of those things right now, like the Bored Wine Company, which launched like a week or two ago. If you NFTQT.com has the Bored Wine Company on there.
Yeah.
And then like there was that. Then there was a beer that like 4 or 5 months ago did a Bored IPA. So like people are, I think out of all, like if you're just looking at a branding agent, like the Bored Ape Yacht Club, dude, that I'm waiting for Harvard to put out a case study and be like, this is one of the dopest brands out here right now. And I would totally agree. Because like, it's an interesting brand that could really do a lot of cool collaborations. Like you could see a Bored Ape Yacht Club rocking Supreme. You couldn't see a CryptoPunk rocking Supreme. So I think out of all, like why we're seeing so many of these like kind of crossover merchandising or branding things with Bored Ape, it's just because that their brand is really interesting.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, again, you can check this out on NFTQT.com. But the Bored Wine Company was this whole concept where Bored Ape owners are now showcasing what full usage or full commercial usage rights of their NFT look like. And the Bored Wine Company collaborated with the wine company. It was WIV with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the first NFT wine we've seen. Like we've seen quite a few things, but what was interesting about it is they were putting Bored Apes on the wine label, and like you can submit that you own an ape, and you can be a part of their wine club. I thought it was a really good marketing campaign. I don't know how they're gonna do like the rev share and all that good stuff, but I mean I'm excited for the Bored Wine Company. I actually haven't signed up for they sold out, so I missed this drop even though I own a wine. But I don't drink, so it was like one of those where I wasn't interested in it.
I mean, the funny thing is, it's like in their marketing, they said, "Hey, we're taking the finest wines of the world, we're bottling them, and then we're going to brand it with a Bored Ape wine brand." So I think it's kind of funny, like taking all of these like legacy luxury wine brand, like the wine in the bottle is probably like way more luxurious than a Bored Ape could ever imagine it would be. But the simple fact that like you're taking some like legacy vineyard out of France or something, and you're being like, nah, this isn't what we're going to call the wine. We're going to throw a Bored Ape on it. Like, it's a weird world we're living in right now, man.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, this is different. I'm not gonna lie on that one, but I thought it was cool. How I thought the creativity here is like what got me going, right? And I think that this is relevant for two reasons. One, we're seeing what it looks like on the ground floor. So you've got a smaller company and probably some homies that just said, "Hey, we're gonna put together a wine company, and we're gonna showcase what full commercial rights usage looks like with the Bored Apes." And then you on the flip side have Arizona hopping in, and they're saying like, "Yo, don't leave us out." I'm not actually sure. I'm not. I didn't check out I didn't check out issue number 1 of Bored Apes. Did you see that yet?
Oh, the comic?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I have not.
I think that there's supposed to be a cameo by, I would presume that there's a cameo by Arizona in there. So I gotta check that out. But
Huh.
It's one of those things where I'm kind of like, this is getting interesting. But
Yeah. I think like on the corporate side of thing, I know.
Let me finish.
Okay.
So Arizona, they're doing their thing. We're seeing that. Visa just announced that they're getting into the metaverse, and we don't really know what that means. They said, there was a tweet I felt like, or I don't remember if I saw it as a press release or a tweet, but the Visa, I mean, they have now one of the most talked about NFT projects, and they have a CryptoPunk. I think that they probably will, if anything, get into the tokenization of these NFTs. I don't see why not.
So like But like what I know that like corporations invest their money, like they oftentimes they'll invest their profits or something. But like, what's a company gonna do with an NFT collection? Like, is this for a pension fund? Is this for like 401ks for employees? Like, what does a corporation do with an NFT?
I think because it's one of the first NFTs, right? And it's definitely the first NFT to gain mass popularity as like a collection. This is the 10K project that made 10Ks 10Ks. I think that owning it is signifying support, right? And in their case, their show, this is a nod to supporting, just everything crypto and non-fungible token related. I don't really know what their strategy is going to be here, because I don't think even traditional uh I don't think traditional investors even know exactly what their NFT strategy is, because they just haven't been around long enough. And there's a lot of money pouring in, so we're seeing a lot of things kind of go for crazy prices. But that's just what the early days are like. These are right now virtual flexes. Like, I think that if the best way that I think about CryptoPunks and 10K projects is like, if it's not the Bored Ape. So the Bored Ape, you're getting commercial usage rights, you're getting access to their websites. There's like a community there. CryptoPunks are more like a flex, if you ask me. What type of flex? It's like, when we go to the club and you want to buy a bunch of bottles and just kind of showcase, how opulent you are and how much wealth you got. You could just, order a ton of bottles to your VIP section, and everybody in the club is gonna know that such and such is balling. That's what a CryptoPunk represents to me. So they ordered one bottle, right? They didn't have the most expensive CryptoPunk purchase, but it's still kind of cool to see a company come in the crypto club and say, "Yo, we rocking with y'all. Like, come talk to us." Because if anything, it's just it opens up the door.
Yeah, it's true. Why didn't they invest in Bitcoin then, dog? It's been 10 years.
How do we know they didn't? We don't. I mean, we don't know that they didn't.
That's true.
Yeah. So I just look at it like that. I mean, like, this is just one of those things where I'm excited by it. I think that we will see why they've done this probably in just a short little bit of time. But as of now, I mean, they've got my support.
Cool. Enough said.
For sure, for sure. What else you got, man? I know we got a lot to cover today.
For sure. I think quick note, Matt Fury, the dude who created the image of the frog that, later became an alt-right movement. So he withdrew his DMCA for the Sad Frogs district on OpenSea, which was kind of cool.
Why did he do that? Because he didn't think he was going to win, or what do you think? What did he say?
I didn't see an explanation. I just saw that they took it down, and that's all I needed to know. So Sad Frogs are back. But I think the point I want to bring up on this, because like, we're kind of reaching this point where, every single day I'm a part of this Metaverse HQ. So they just tell me every drop that's going to happen every day, everyone votes like, hey, this is the ones I'm going to jump in on. This is the ones I'm excited about. Right. Like, every day there's just these massive projects. And I think when we think like, just a year from now or something, what are those stories that kind of prevail and like kind of break through the mold and can still like be talked about in an interesting and unique light, where it's not just like, oh, this is a 10K project that's worth, 2 ETH floor price. No, it's like, we're going to be interested in some of these more unique stories. And I think Sad Frogs District having this DMCA, beating it, now coming back, that's a cool story. The
worth of the Sad Frogs project, because they've kind of beat this calamity that once slowed them down a little bit.
Say that again.
So do you think that increased the overall value of the Sad Frogs project? Like, so like,
absolutely. I think like it's the point here is like, you kind of got to have you got to have a really unique utility right now. You got to have a lot of collectors in your back pocket, or you got to have a cool story, and I think like this is a cool story. I think what, the Fame Lady Squad, them, transferring the rights of who's owning who's running the project. I think that like is another unique story. Obviously the two projects have to prevail, and they have to like have a consistent, basic collectors and trades and stuff to even be talked about a few months or a year from now. But
Right.
like, these are those interesting stories that could stand out when someone's writing the book 5 years from now about the history of NFTs, or someone's doing case studies on certain NFT projects. You can only talk about CryptoPunks and Bored Apes for so long. You can only talk about Pudgy Penguins for so long. And so some of these collections that beat certain things or have a really interesting, unique story, like,
This is cool. I mean,
yeah,
this is Sad Frogs District, and the one thing I like about Sad Frogs is they are a part of NFT history, right? Because they successfully beat the DMCA.
that one in the middle right there with the green background and the mustache. Yeah,
Yeah,
that top one.
yeah.
You should buy that one. That one's like number 166 on the rarity, and
Where?
it's
Which
for the
one's that?
low, the middle on the top row.
This one? This one right here?
Yeah, the price it's going up. I don't know what the reserve is on it. It's definitely over an ETH because like I think they bought it for 0.75. But
Yeah,
this one's pretty rare.
yeah. I mean, if I see, oh, the top bid is okay, so I see what's going on. So the floor price is only 0.19. So there's a lot of these they're pretty affordable.
I
How
think the art's cool. Like there's a lot going on in these, but I feel like that's kind of what Pepe the Frog kind of represents. Just a lot going on.
Yeah, nah. I'm gonna cop a Sad Frog. I don't know which one. I want to like the actual project, but um, I'm glad to see that they're back, and I'm glad to see that they survived one crazy ride.
For sure.
All the only get they only got 1.7k, or no, wow, wait, whoa, I thought that was 1.7 ETH. No, they've got
I know that fools me all the
that's
time.
yeah,
I'll look and be like,
they did all
damn,
this
what?
shit for 1.7 ETH. I was like, I could
No.
have given you that, but nah.
No, that little the K always it fools me too.
For sure. No, this is
So
dope. This is super dope. What's up though?
another kind of news story I wanted to cover was former co-creator of Vine is creating an NFT arcade. And I know we talked about
Wait,
NFT arcades on here a couple episodes
Capred.
ago.
No, there's another one aside from Capreds.
Yeah, it's called Subdrive.
Yeah, all
It,
right.
it, it hasn't launched yet, but I mean, it's crazy. I don't know if they just basically took a play out of Catbread, or maybe they were thinking about it for a long time. But it's pretty much the same concept, except the difference here is you're not buying coins to go and or tokens to go and play the games. You actually physically buy the NFT arcade game. So like maybe they'll have 100 Pac-Mans or whatever NFTs, and you can only play that game if you own that NFT. So they're starting with the classics, just like Catbread did. They're kind of creating their own version of Pac-Man, Galaga, etc. So I don't know. I was looking at this and I wanted to talk about it because, like,
This
damn,
one,
like we just saw Catbread do this.
yeah. So Subdrive is created by the co-creator of Vine, as Ryan already said, and he wrote an update not too long ago, a few days ago, and he says, "What is Subdrive? Subdrive is an on-chain fantasy console where the games themselves are NFTs. You can think of it sort of like art blocks for games. These games will all run on the Subdrive virtual firmware, a toolkit that allows games to be written in concise instructions that are gas friendly and ideal for on chain storage. Although every game will be released in fixed edition sizes, every edition is unique. Every version of the game will be different, whether it's color palettes, difficulty, special abilities, or more. What kinds of games? Subdrive games will be old school arcade style games to start. Think of titles like Galaga, Pac-Man, or Asteroid. As the firmwares upgrade, games will gradually become more sophisticated. Perhaps one day we'll have Super Subdrive or Subdrive 64. The first game is called Origin. Wow, this is dope. I'm bullish on this because you're right. This is like Catbread, but like on
A little bit more official.
yeah, a whole nother level. And one thing that I always say about projects is you don't necessarily invest in ideas. Traditionally, you invest in the people behind it. And it's harder when you're younger and you don't have any credit, or you're not proven. But this is a proven entrepreneur. And one thing I will say about proven entrepreneurs is they know how to make hard and difficult decisions, but they also know how to execute. And that's one thing that, he's going to have an advantage here, even though people are going to be like, what do you know about crypto? You never know about crypto because so many people are just behind the wallet, right? Like this is one of
For
the
sure.
few places where if you don't talk a lot, but you can make, you know, one or two trades and tell people this is your wallet, and you can gain so much respect and notoriety in just a short period of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we said it when we covered Catbread. You know, like we love this idea of the NFT arcade. Who's gonna like kind of take over, be the, you know, the Dave and Buster's of this, or, you know, cloud computing of this? Who knows? It's I just love the idea, so I'm excited to see someone like do it officially and create some rarity around these NFT games.
You already know what I'm excited for as it relates to this,
What's that? Of course,
but
Tetris.
you already know it. I can rock with it.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the part of the episode where we get into our ideas, our theories, our concepts, and we just kind of chat through, you know, what tickles our fancy, what makes us excited about NFTs. And Ryan, you posed this idea to me the other day, and I was like, let's talk about it on the show. So I'm gonna bring that up. You talked to me, and you were like, "Yo, how many fans do you think you need in order to become a full-time NFT creator?" And I was like, NFT creator, and you were like, yeah, like this whole concept of NFTs as a career is going to be foreign to many people today. But if you remember 2010, the whole concept of being a social media superstar was a foreign concept to a lot of people. And you know, now how many people have a full-time job that's just a social media manager, and social influencer, a social media analyst? And you know, when I think about it like that, you're right. NFTs are this emerging trend that will probably be careers for a lot of people, lot more people than we even know. And I want to get into that. So, you know, there's a lot of theories out there. You know, Kevin Kelly did the original 10,000 fan, or no, 1,000
1,000.
theory, and that was way back when. I mean, I'll try to find that theory, but let's get into it. What do you think? Where are you at?
Well, I think we're pretty far along as it is. I saw this tweet. This guy was basically breaking down OpenSea itself, and like around 2% of creators on OpenSea have made over $100,000 from selling their NFTs. So yeah, only 2%. It doesn't sound like a ton out of like 200 some thousand active traders on there. So you're looking at, you know, 4,000 to 5,000 people who have made a career, or at least a yearly 1 year's salary selling NFTs. So I think we're already kind of past that, like, you know, that first year of Instagram influencers being like, how that's a job? What? Like, I think it really is a job now. But I think like what it takes to be a successful one is a lot less than what you necessarily would expect. And Lee Jin, I saw you brought up this article. So Lee Jin, she worked at A16Z. Yeah. And she's kind of like she covered all types of just like creator economy stuff. So, you know, anybody who's just trying to make a career out of just being a creator themselves. She's always covering this stuff. And her theory on this is, hey, like, it's not even 1,000 true fans anymore. Like she first rescinded it, made it 100 true fan theory. She made the 100 true fans. You know, you just have to have them spend $1,000 with you a year, which is 83 a month. She then has since rescinded it down to 2. She's like, you only need 2 NFT collectors to make a career out of this. You just realistically even 1, but 2 is like, hey, you got two people bidding up prices on every piece. You're golden. That's all you need. And I thought, like, conceptually, that was interesting, you know, because I think that's kind of like what the art world has always been. If you get that first, you need to find that first collector, right? That person who is just a ride or die, loves what you do, and they become your biggest mouthpiece. And they're incentivized to spread your project because, hey, I'm an early investor. I got in when this stuff was cheap, and I want other people to appreciate your art too, so that I can make money, they can make money. So I tend to agree with her here. I think like this theory, instead of trying to build a community right off the bat that has, you know, maybe 100 or 100 plus people that are collecting your stuff, I think it does really just start with 1 here. But it's got to be the right one, right?
No, I agree. I think what's interesting about this whole concept and this theory of just, you know, 2 people being your main supporters, is we're getting into a realm where, you know, it feels very philanthropic. Where like when you think about philanthropic,
Philanthropy.
yeah, philanthropy. My mind's doing so many things. Like grammar is not my strongest suit. But when you think about philanthropy and you think about just the whole concept of it, somebody who has enough gives that to someone else, and by them giving that to someone else, many people can partake or experience or see the value from said contribution and gift. We're at that point. You know, you can create something, be a creator, broadcast your ability. I think every creator, if you want to get into NFTs, should go check out this book. It's called Show Your Work. You remember that, by Austin Kleon?
Mm-hmm.
So Austin Kleon is a notable author, makes incredible books. And you know, the first book that really turned me on to Austin Kleon was Steal Like an Artist. And I remember reading that and just saying like, hey, this guy gets it. But he has another book all about, you know, how can an artist broadcast and build a following. And it's called Show Your Work. I'll try to pull it up in a second here. But my point here is, if you got good at showing your work, that helps you build an audience, right? And then once you have the audience, the whole concept that you need to get good at from there is almost like understanding who in your audience can afford you know, things that you create. So if you make something for $1, maybe many people can afford it. If you're saying I need to make, you know, $50,000 a year, and you've got, you know, a lot of your net worth of, you know, the people that follow you are let's just say, I don't know, like your average net worth is 250,000. Well, obviously you could sell something a little bit more than $1. Again, this book, Show Your Work by Austin Kleon, go check it out. Screenshot this page right here. It's a great book. And, you know, it talks about 10 ways to share your creativity and get discovered. This getting discovered part is the part that I want to like elaborate on. I think Elon Musk does a great job of this, right? Where Elon will go and create stuff, but he kind of knows the net worth of people around him. So he'll say, hey, you want a cyber truck? Put down $1,000 or put down $100. And he'll get, you know, hundreds of thousands of people to put that down. And now he's made all this money so he can go and research and develop and kind of bring this concept to life. I think more creators should do that. And, you know, what if you did a reverse mint, Ryan, where right now we're saying, hey, here's this project, mint the project. What if you're saying, hey, I'm an artist, mint a one of one for me? Put the money up front. It's kind of like that idea where, you know, people were last week we talked about wishes, like NFT.
Yeah.
It's the same concept. If you believe in me and I'm an artist, you know, like if Kanye said, hey, you can hear Donda early if you support me. I'm delaying it because the financial people are saying I'm not going to make enough money to feed my family. How many people would mint the album?
He'd make a bag.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would mint a couple versions of the album.
Man, I was on YouTube and I heard some like I watch a lot of celebrity, like, you know, YouTube chefs and stuff just cook meals all day. I don't know. It's one of my guilty pleasures. And this dude on here was talking. This is like a 45-year-old dude talking about how he just wants Don to come out so he can be inspired. I was like, wow, there's a lot of people out here who want to hear Kanye's new work.
No, for sure. And right. And so like, if you have true fans that believe in you, you can allow them to participate in NFTs. Maybe they're not the person that buys or owns the said rights, because a lot of people don't care about rights at the end of the day, right? Like, Ryan, how many things do you do in your life where you actually need the rights to do it? Or do you actually care about your rights?
I mean, as a white male in America, I'm sure it's a lot less than normal people, but no, for sure.
Right. So it's like, when you think about it from that perspective, it's like, you do want to still enjoy certain experiences. You still want to watch the film. You might not own the film, but you still want to watch the film. You might not own the rights to the music, but you still want to hear the music. And so like for me, I think about it in that same context and say like, hey, you know, if there's two people that own the rights to all my work, great. But if, as long as they allow, or if there's a clear path where many people can partake in, experience, and share, I think that's the key. So I agree with Lee Jin. I think Lee's been on it and she's been killing it for some time. So I'm glad to see that she's getting some flowers and some shine, and more people are finding out about her work. Follow her Twitter. And she also has a new VC firm. If you're a creator and you've got an idea, I would say Lee's a good person to know. So check that out. Ryan, what you got, bro?
For sure. I wanted to talk kind of conceptually here. There's not a whole lot of substance to this idea yet, but I feel like you'd have some pretty interesting ideas. Uh, Universities and NFTs.
Okay.
I saw a press release once that said that universities are sitting on an NFT gold mine and they just don't even realize it.
I agree.
Between like interesting research documents, like even the application process, like textbooks, stuff like that. I mean, what do you think here? Like, if you were, let's just say you were the dean at a university, University of Wisconsin-Madison, our alma mater. If you were the dean over there, how would you set up like an NFT strategy?
Well, I mean, it's a good question, but I think if I worked at a university and my goal was to get into NFTs, I liked what UCLA did. Did you see what UCLA LA did? Um,
I don't think so. No.
um, I'm gonna try to find it really fast. I think it was, or was it Berkeley? It might have been Berkeley. Hold on, I'll see. Um, Let me see. First ever. Yeah, this is it right here. Check this out. So I'm gonna share the screen. So this is UC Berkeley, not UCLA. Correction there, but they did this first ever auction of an NFT based on Nobel Prize winning inventions. And it took place on June 8th, and it netted them about 22 ETH, which at the time was worth $50,000, a little bit over that. And it was an auction on Foundation, which was cool about this is it was called the fourth pillar, and it represented uh, it represented some IP for cancer immunotherapy, which is a groundbreaking way to attack cancer. I'm not going to get into this NFT, but what I really loved about this project in particular is that one, they're taking something that they actually own. So this is the research. They turned it into art. This feels very Kanye-ish, if you ask me. It looks like something that someone would pay $50,000 for. And I mean, I could see like I remember the threads at the time. People were like, "Fuck cancer," and it was like it was dope, right? Because you're like, "Oh yeah, like I'm gonna be hard on cancer," and that carried it from a marketing standpoint. And it was just like, hey, you can own the work that allowed us to kind of kick cancer's ass in some capacity, especially on the research. And
Hmm.
I thought it was well done. So, if I were running strategy for a university and it was related to NFTs, I definitely would look at our scientific department and see what patents or what cool things we were known for. On the sports side, all the famous touchdowns that all the alumni would know. It's like, we went to school with Melvin Gordon, and like we remember
Yeah,
all.
well, when he broke the rushing record, like the single game rushing record, like that
Yeah,
was a monumental moment. I remember because then later that day it was broken again. But like, yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, science, sports. I think the
right.
sports stuff makes sense. It's going to get really tricky now because like with the whole NIL stuff going on, where college athletes can make money off of their own likeness. Like, okay, does the university get to sell this winning touchdown, or can the player hop on it before the university does?
I mean, that's a great question. I don't have the answers to it, but I think that as long as you do fair business, you'll be able to figure out a deal that makes sense. I think that the whole concept of the NIL stuff was, stop ripping people off, right? And so I think that like as long as you're showing good faith and you're just trying to be innovation always wins, right? And so if you're doing innovation and you're not cutting anybody out of the picture, I don't think you got to worry too much there. Lawyers can figure it out.
For sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I would look at all the stuff that is monumental, and it doesn't have to just be sports and science. It can be, notable accomplishments for the university as a whole. The opening of a new dorm hall, the closing of a new of an old building, so a new building can get there. Memories that are made. Like, there's so many things because literally anything could be an NFT on a university because everything
Yeah.
means something to somebody there. Ideally.
Yeah, I feel like NFTs could change the whole situation with what's the word I'm looking for? What do alumni give back when when you get the phone calls? You used to work at the office, you'd phone up alumni and try to get
Oh
donations.
yeah, 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 yeah. For
Whatever that word is for, I forget what the word is, but I feel like NFTs could offer an interesting take, right? Like, I don't know if I'll ever donate back to my university. I feel like a lot of people my age probably feel that way. But hey, if I get an interesting digital collectible by giving back, I might be interested.
No, that's real. That's real. I want to talk about one last thing. It's a tweet thread by Bat Supum. You saw? Did you see this tweet?
Yeah, yeah, he's a notable whale, I'd say. No,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
his theory is interesting. Bat soup yum.
Bat soup yum. My bad. I always say bat soup, but bat soup yum.
Yeah, but his concept here is, I think, pretty sound, and he's basically kind of talking about, okay, like where's the money of flowing in the NFT market, and like
Yeah.
he's kind of basically saying like we're between stage 1 and 2 right now, where it's like a lot of collectibles. We're starting to get into the generative projects,
Right.
but his whole concept here is like, collectibles take the least amount of due diligence, right? Like it's kind of it's easier to take a gut shot on a collectible because you can see how many people are minting them, you can see how many wallets own them, whereas it's harder to take a gut shot on a one of one because it's only one person. You can look and see how many NFTs that artist has sold, or yada yada yada, see if a bunch of whales follow them and whatnot. But the due diligence is just totally different for a one of one artist, in comparison to like a collectibles project.
Yeah. No, I think that I'm all in on one of one art. I think that it makes the most sense fundamentally as far as sustaining, the sustain, like, because I don't think the momentum that has been generated by Punks and Bored Ape Yacht Club and uh Curios and all of the 10K isk projects, I don't think that that's sustainable over time. I think everybody agrees with that sentiment. I think the generative art project, it feels to me like lottery tickets, bro. Like, I mean, you can get a Fidenza, was it 1,300, and it turned into $3.3 million.
Yeah, I mean, all of the art block stuff is like,
Like,
I
dude,
remember when Fidenza first made it on our top, or like top sales of the week list.
yeah, top
We
100.
would do every week. We do our recap of the top sales, and a Fidenza made it for like 50 ETH, and that was like the first big sale of it. And I remember writing in our report to like all the people who follow us in our newsletter, being like, "Oh yeah, Art Blocks has a whole lot of other projects. You might want to go check them out." Sure
Yeah,
enough, that
no,
stuff is it's gone crazy. But I agree with you, like in the sense that like generative art is all abstract art, and it's like, I think abstract is one of the hardest art motifs for people who aren't deep in the art weeds to wrap their heads around. Like it's just like the cliche of like, damn, I could have drawn that, like I could have made that, and I think that's what's kind of funny about the generative stuff. But yeah.
no, I agree. I think that what's interesting about that though is, how do you make the generative stuff cool? Like, if it were me, like the way I would do, if I had a generative art project, the way I would do it is I would take a lot of these celebrities that want to get into NFTs, right? So you get like, who just did an NFT? Lionel Messi just did an NFT like 2 days ago, right? Like, that's cool, but a lot of people hit me up asking me if I was going to buy that. I'm like, no, I'm not going to buy that, because like over time, like, why is this Lionel Messi NFT going to be worth anything, right? Like, if these are investments or speculative investments, I'm not trying to just buy a Lionel Messi collectible. There's other things I can buy. Like, I can go buy a card, or I could go buy a jersey, or I could just go watch Lionel Messi play, right? Like, I don't want to own the digital version of that. And that's just my personal take. But if Lionel Messi said, hey, I'm going to do a generative art project, I'm going to make a mood board of all of the things that I think of when I get on the court. And he did like this crazy ass website where it was just, a mood board. It looked like Arcolect, or it looked like a crazy Pinterest board, right? And you go there and you're like, damn. And then he's like, and I'm working with art blocks, and we're gonna create a Lionel Messi NFT collection that's inspired by my own interest, and the algorithm's gonna decide, what to come up with. To me, that's dope. Like, now there's a moment in time. This is how this guy felt. There was actual curated properties. The computer has to then say this is good, and Lionel then says like, I'm gonna do the final chop. Like, I'm gonna go in and cut the pieces. So it's like, I didn't like this one, or I didn't like that one. That's why I like what Gary Vee did. Like with VFriends, VFriends was dope because he actually curates those things. Like, I mean, there are modifications, but he draws and he selects. And if he doesn't like a drawing, guess what? He can throw it out. And I think that like the popularity then it starts because you have this massive person that's a celebrity, and then you have the generative art project that like follows them, and then they're able to then release different projects too to different moments in things in their life, right? Like I would have bought a generative Life of Pablo album or a Yeezus album inspired by the Yeezus album, or now we're in the Donda era of Kanye, and like if there's a Donda generative art project, that would be really sick because that was a moment in time where, like, if I ask you right now, you're a Kanye fan. Do you remember the Life of Pablo?
Of course.
What was that listening party like?
Well, we went to a movie theater, got our tickets. I remember sitting there for an hour waiting for that thing to finally start, just seeing Madison Square Garden. But it was like you did feel like you were watching a bigger moment, like a presidential presidential commencement or inauguration. It looked like it felt like a big. It felt like more than a concert, right?
And do not just double up though. Like you went to that, you remember that changed your life. You're like, whoa. Like I remember I went to the St. Pablo tour, same thing. It was like it was earth shattering, right? And you see Kanye floating on a stage, and that was just dope. I would love to own an NFT on like what was the thought process in making a floating stage. You doubled up. You basically bought an NFT. It's just not an NFT. You bought a ticket for what was your ticket, like $340?
More than I would have liked to spend.
Yeah, bought a $340 Kanye West ticket to see Kanye at Soldier Field. You're gonna go see Kanye live. It'd be different if everyone got a generative art, or you could claim a generative art project there that was by Kanye, because now you still bring down a little bit of that layer of that collectible into the generative. Otherwise, I think generative art projects are too speculative and they remind me a ton of lottery tickets.
Yeah, for sure. It's also one of those things where they add these kind of innocuous traits to this generated thing, and it's like, damn, what? I don't even see that trait. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about?
Like the 16 eyes scalpel. Like what? Huh?
But hey, they're doing their thing. I'm not hating or anything. I think it's one of those things where you got to be honest with what you like and you don't like in the NFT market, because like you can't collect everything.
Yeah,
you're gonna miss so many projects that you saw and were like, nah, I didn't want to do that. And I think at the end of the day, like you said, you got to buy what you're interested in. And I like, kind of to your point of the Lionel Messi thing, totally agree. Would never buy like a soccer player's NFT, especially because it has no reason. Like, well, why is this going to have value in the future if only like if your only reason it's going to have value is because there's other people collecting it, whereas I was trying to drop money on the Chicago Bulls championship ring series, like I wanted to buy one of those. It was about the same price, but I felt drawn to that as a guy from Chicago, like loving the Bulls my whole life. I wanted to buy that, even though it's the same concept. Like this doesn't actually correlate to, the actual ring. Like it doesn't actually have the value, but I like where it's going. I'm interested in it,
Nah, I get that. And I think that that's a whole sector of NFTs. And again, in this show, we didn't talk too many projects, but I want to start getting to the point where we're bringing on people and we start really asking them, what was the thought process behind that? Because I think if we go back and look at the money flow, and this is my last point there, if we think one of one art is going to be worth the most, but it's also the hardest, people put 14, 15 years into the flow and he made 69 million. It wasn't overnight. It was after thousands of days of just showing up and doing the same thing. If you just made a 10K project in 10 days, why would you expect to make $69 million?
For sure. And I think that's what's interesting about the one-of-one art is because like when you support a one-of-one NFT, you are directly supporting an artist. Whereas, there are some people who've done a ton of these projects, like every week they're launching a new one because they're just waiting for one of them to hit. Right. Yeah. And it feels more akin to what, like you said, like, hey, I'm just going to throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. The one-on-one stuff, it's tricky because, every time I'm about to buy a one-on-one piece, I'm like, well, is it are other people going to see the value in this? Is it going to be, am I going to make money? And then that's kind of when I pinch myself and I'm like, well, that's the whole reason why one-on-one art is interesting, because at the essence, you really have to like the artist. You really have to like the piece of art, because it's arguably one of the biggest risks you can take in buying an NFT.
For sure. And on that note, I think we should close it out. For those that are just checking in, this episode of the NFT QT show was brought to you by the NFT Handbook. For those that don't know, the NFT Handbook is a detailed guide on how to create, sell, and buy non fungible tokens. You don't need to be a technical expert to get the NFT Handbook and start cooking. All you got to do is go to Amazon.com, type in the NFT Handbook, and you can learn exactly what NFTs are, how they've evolved, and why they have value. And on that note, I will catch you in the future.